try this. Actually fired off really, really good there. So that was probably a better representation of our additional startup airflow that we added. Looks like our scanner froze here. Let's start it again. That was a better representation of our startup airflow. That particular crank to fire, fired up and ran. I didn't have to go in and any kind of odd starting. It didn't bog, didn't overshoot. It just fired up. It was went up a little bit, flared a little bit in engine speed, and then it came right back down and settled right to my desired target. Now, a couple things I want to point out are idle advance. When we're finding that the idle is close to being right, we're going to be seeing that the idle advance here is usually adjusting maybe plus or minus 5 degrees. We can see that spark timing is moving around here, but that's going to be acceptable. So I'm completely fine with this. Notice now that our closed loop trim, it's adding here, adding or subtracting maybe 1 or 2%, and our idle air here, if we're looking at our VE closed loop air, that looks like it's pretty good. Taking a look now at our dynamic airflow, it's registering here around 10 to 12 grams per second, or around 1 to 1.2 pound per minute worth of airflow. That's actually going to be good. So I'm actually happy with that. We can see the engine coolant temperature here is 171, and I think right now, at least at idle, our modeling here and our airflow estimation is correct. Now if we take a look down at the rest of this, we find that our short-term idle trim here is making a very minimal adjustment, and that our desired airflow here is relatively close to what we found in the table. So I'm actually going to be completely fine with the way everything is running right now. We didn't change a whole lot from that base, the base file that we read out, the original file. We updated just the things we needed to, and the idle control we left alone until we sorted out our base airflow. Whether you're in the mass airflow mode or you're in the VE mode, in this case I'm starting off in VE to simplify the process, we found that everything now is working and registered properly, and I didn't have to go in and make any drastic adjustments. So -5 here in pound per hour in my short-term idle trim is completely fine. Now what I'm going to do is shut it off one more time here, and I'm not going to flash it this time. I'm going to go in and just verify that that code didn't come back in, the U0107. It hasn't, and we see our P0103 code comes on, indicating that we are in our math failed mode. That's fine. Let's exit. I'm going to go here and just confirm that that startup airflow is good. It fired off when it was cold pretty well, but now on a warm engine, essentially 180 here, again, our startup airflow is adding 85 pound per hour. Our total airflow here is 163, and then we can see that it is opening our throttle plate by that certain amount. Let's try this real quick. It fires off and it runs perfect. That's actually absolutely perfect. The idle speed is a little bit high here. It decays itself out and goes right back to our desired idle speed around 800. Remember that we did go into our startup airflow here and idle into our startup airflow delay, and we're blocking out the startup airflow from dissipating for 5 seconds. So 50 here is equivalent to approximately 5 seconds. This is cam revs, so 10 cam revs is approximately 1 second for kind of a reference sake. So everything there is good. Everything within my idle spark feedback is good as well. Now let's rev the engine and let's test this real quick and see what's going to happen. So I'm going to rev the engine up, and we're going to see the throttle follower, we're going to find right here, that's going to be adding some amount of airflow to make sure that the engine speed doesn't die. Let's just test this out and see what the dynamic movement of our idle is going to do, and making sure that that's going to be fine. It's not going to stall out, because this is another test that we have to do. Our steady state idle is fine, but let's see what's going to happen when it's moving. Now we're not driving, we're just going to be revving it. If we start to drive, we would have to look at the throttle, the idle cracker airflow, and not the idle follower airflow. So the follower is for free revving and coming back into idle. The cracker is for moving and coming back into idle. Let me go rev it real quick. So I'm going to bring the idle speed up here a little bit and let it come down. It settles down pretty. Thanks for checking out our teaser clip. If you want to see the rest of this video and more than 500 hours of current EFI training we have to offer, make sure you click right here. If you want to go and check out more teaser clips from this training course, click here. And you don't want to miss any of the videos we're going to be releasing on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and click here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.